Hey guys, it's Vignesh from CodeAndroid. In this series, we'll see how to develop this to-do application using Flutter. On launching the application, we have the splash screen in which the app logo is getting animated. After a quick delay, the app is landed on the home screen, where we can create or modify the to-do. In each to-do, we can add multiple tasks and we can mark the individual task as completed by checking the checkbox. Also, we have the option to rearrange the task using drag and drop. Let's start the development. Creating a new Flutter project. Here, we need to select the Flutter path. I have Flutter installed via FVM, so giving my FVM Flutter path. Then, giving the project name as To-Do. Let's clear all the code and start from scratch. Run app need to return a widget, so I'm returning material app. As per the design, our app uses green color as its primary color. To change that, add theme as theme data with primary swatch as colors.green. Let's do the navigation first. So, creating a new directory called screen for keeping our screen widgets. For this app, we have three screens: splash screen, to-do screen, and task screen. For the splash screen, creating a stateless widget and importing material.dart. Similarly, we'll create a placeholder widget for each screen. Here, I'm using stateful widgets. Now, we need to link this splash screen to our material app as the first screen. To do that, usually we add the home property. Instead of this, let's use named route for this application. So, creating a class called route. In this class, declaring all the routes present in our application. We need to pass this splash screen as the initial route in our material app. Now, material app knows which is the initial screen name, but it doesn't know which widget. To define that, we need to override onGenerateRoute callback. So, I'm copying the callback signature and adding it in our route class. Also, maintaining the function name the same. Here, we need to return appropriate widget for each route name. If the name is splash screen, then we need to return the route for splash screen. Splash screen is the initial screen, so we might need it in multiple places. So, creating a function called splash route, inside returning material page route of builder and returning the splash screen. Now we can return this here. Before that, let's make onGenerateRoute function as static. If the name is splash screen, then we are returning splash screen route. Like this, we need to add each possible screen with appropriate route. In our case, we have a to-do screen and a task screen. So, based on the screen name, I'm returning the appropriate routes. Finally, if nothing is matching, then return the splash screen route. Here, we are not returning null, so removing nullable and calling our custom function in material app. We have completed the setup for navigation. Let's start doing the UI design. Our splash screen has the app logo in the center. To add the app logo, creating a new folder called assets. Inside that, creating another folder called images. This is the app logo which we are going to use. So, copy the file and paste it inside the image folder. Now, we need to link this asset in our pubspec.yaml's asset section. Inside this asset, we need to add the asset location. To get that, right-click on the file and select Copy Path or Reference. In this, make sure to select Path from Content Root. Now we got the asset location, let's paste it here. In splash screen, we need the app icon in the center of the screen, so adding scaffold so that the screen will follow material theming and adding center widget as the body. Finally, adding image.asset as a child for the center widget. For this image.asset, we need to pass the asset path. So, pasting the value which we copied earlier. you can see the app is showing the image. But our design is using dark theme, so changing the brightness of the app to dark. Let's save the application. You can see we are not able to see any change. In these kinds of scenario, we need to do hot restart. To do that, press Shift on your keyboard and click on the lightning icon. You can see the app is switched to dark theme. Before we start animation, I am converting this widget to stateful widget because we need to change the animation parameter at runtime. We need to do size and opacity animation. For size animation state, creating variable called size start with 0 and size end with 200 as its default value. We need a duration for doing the animation, so creating a variable called duration with 1000 as its value. Initially we are not going to do opacity animation, so creating opacity start and opacity end with 1 as its default value. We need a widget which animates from start value to end value. To do that, we need to use tween animation builder. This requires tween, duration and builder. For tween, passing the tween of double with begin as size start and end as size end. For duration, passing the duration of a millisecond with duration as its value. Finally, adding the builder. In this, we will get the tween value which we need to use for animation. Inside the builder, returning the image with width and height as tween value. This tween value is for manipulating the size, so changing the variable name from value to size. Let's run the code. You can see the size animation is happening. Now we need to wait for a few seconds. After that, we need to start opacity animation. So wrapping this image with another tween animation builder and using opacity variable for the tween. Inside the builder, returning the opacity widget with opacity returned by the tween along with the image as its child. Let's hot restart the application. Sorry, we are able to see only size animation because opacity start and end value are the same. If I change the opacity end to 0, both animations are happening at the same time. But we want the size animation to happen first, then wait for a second and do size and opacity animation. To achieve that, resetting the opacity back to 1, creating a function called animate and calling this inside init state. Inside this animation function, waiting for 2 seconds using future.delayed, then updating the opacity end as 0. The tween animation will always happen from its current value to the end value. In this case, our current value is 1, so the animation will happen from 1 to 0. At the same time, I want the size to increase, so setting size end as 400. Also, I want this animation to happen faster, so changing the duration to 200. After completing the animation, we want to move to the next screen. So again waiting for the duration milliseconds. After that, we need to move to next screen. To move to next screen, we need to call navigator.pushNamed. Here we need to pass the context and screen name. In our case, it's to-do screen. Here we don't want the user to come back to the splash screen, so instead of using push named, we need to use push replacement named. You can see we got the final result. Just to confirm that we have landed to to-do screen, replacing the placeholder with scaffold. You can see the UI got updated, which means we are in the to-do screen. In next video, we'll see how to do CRUD operation for to-do. That's all for this video guys. If you have any doubt, please put it in the comment section. I will try to answer it. Hope you like it. I will see you in my next video. Have a nice day.